Shalom, everybody. Some insights in the Parsha of the week, Parshat Ve'era. At the end of the Parsha, we have the seventh plague called Barad, hail, right? And at the end of the Parsha, it says which types of produce was hit and which weren't. And there's two opinions who's saying this, if it's Moshe, if part of Moshe's speech in front of Paro, or the Torah itself telling it over. But basically, the psukim at the end mention four items, two that were destroyed by the hail and two that were not. The verses are Vachita vakusemet lo nuku. So the chita, the wheat, and kusemet, which is identified as spelt. Uh, sorry, before that. Vapishta vesaura nukata. Flax and barley were hit by the hail. Ke se'ora havi vapishta givo. Because the se'ora was already ripened, the barley was ripened, and the pishta, the flax, was already in its stalks, and it's givolim, and it was fully ripened. And therefore, it was hard. So when the hail hit something hard, it smashed it. V'chita v'kusemet lo nuku. However, the wheat and the spelt were not hit. Ki afilot hena, because they're afilot. So there's many commentaries on what this word afilot means. Afilot means they're late in coming out. So because they're late in coming out, they were still soft. So when the hail hit them, they didn't destroy them, okay? But the commentaries, including the Midrash, Rashi quotes this Midrash, saying there were miracles here. Because, one second, if now hail, which is something which is hard, smashes and is thrusted towards the ground, so automatically it will smash and destroy even seeds and weeds that are underground. It'll destroy them because of the capacity of the severity of the thrust of the downpour of the hail onto the earth. Okay, so the Midrash, it says Midrash Tanchuma, and Rashi is quoting this Midrash, the opinion of Rabbi Pinchas, that the word afilot can be derived from another word of pele, plaot. And Rashi says, pilei plaot naasu, there were miracles upon wonders that were done that kept the wheat and the spelt intact. Because technically, yes, they should have been destroyed also. Okay? There's a lot of depth in here, obviously. The Torah has endless secrets. What in the world is going on? What can we learn from this? What is the message, a hidden message? Rabbi Nachman, in lesson 24 of the Likutey Moharan, he explains what happens when a person is advancing in his Judaism. When a person is coming closer to Hashem and coming closer, and now he's ready to perceive what's called the infinite light, which translates as a very powerful illumination of a God's experience, God's existence in your life, feeling it and seeing it. The prerequisite for this experience is what's called a Makah. You're punched, you're smashed, and you're bounced back. You get hit. You get hit. Why do you get hit? Because a human being, by definition, is finite, and Hashem's infinite is exact opposite. These are two opposites. Hashem is the infinite one, we call him infinite, and human being is finite. They can't merge, they can't join. If a finite existence tries to re-merge with the infinite light, he'll just disappear. He'll disintegrate and melt into the infinite light. So there's two opposites. And yet, Hashem in the creation, in the scheme of the creation of the world, of the universe, his intent was, yes, that the finite man, through his good deeds, can come and to perceive the infinite light of Hashem. Okay? So, how does this happen? Rabbi Nachman, quoting the Zohar and explaining it, elaborating it on bringing the depth, explains that the way that a human being, mankind, can experience the infinite light is specifically by being bounced back. By having a bounce back. In other words, you're going in an ascent momentum, going up and up and up and up, and then all of a sudden you get hit and pushed back. What this does, this pushback, first of all, it's a stage of patience. You're not ready to advance. You can't advance still. So you're being pushed back, okay? That's number one. Number two, the bounce back gets the mind befuddled. Because a person, everything was clear. There was clarity, there's understanding. All of a sudden, what's this? What is Hashem doing to me? I thought I'm on the right path. My intent is good. I'm trying to be a good person, a good Jew, and all of a sudden this smash backwards. What's going on? So this befuddlement forces a person to resort to and to rely upon and to rest upon, lismoch et atzmo, to rely himself and make himself dependent on emuna, and this emuna can only be activated if you're someone who's always trying to be happy. The happiness you have in your Judaism allows you to properly experience this emuna experience, so that if you take the bounce back properly, what happens is that you now create vessels to receive within them the infinite light. Okay? Rabbi Nachman says that this is the process how a person can come closer to Hashem. This is the way a Jew can perceive the infinite light, even in a fading, very passing experience, but still experience it in this world by doing good. Okay? So it goes to say that people who are not on that path of doing good and serving Hashem don't have this bounce back. In other words, people are doing wrong and doing evil and doing bad. There's no reason to push them back, because anyways they're on the wrong path. So they want to have a good life and everything. Let them have and enjoy and let them pay the price afterwards. But let them go ahead and advance and advance and advance. So in this Makah of the Barad and the statement of the rabbis, we have this hint. Okay? Rabbi Pinchas from the Midrash Tanchuma, he said, right? And I just want to look inside the Rashi so you can see the actual wording of the Rashi. It's verse 30. It's verse 31. Sorry, it's verse 32. Ki afilot hena. The reason why the spelt and the chita, the wheat, sorry, one second, I have to see the verse. The wheat and the spelt were not hit, ki afilot hena, because they were afilot. So Rashi says, me'ucharot v'adayin hayu rakot v'cholot la'amod mipnei kasher. Like we said, they're still very soft and they can stand in front of something hard. But the Midrash refutes that, saying, what? You have like a meteor landing on the ground, it destroys the earth also. What's in the earth inside also. So it doesn't make sense that the bara didn't kill and destroy the light items. So Rashi at the end, he quotes Midrash Rabbi Tanchuma. So there's a Midrash Rabbi Tanchuma that says the following: Yesh merabotenu shenech leku azot. So there are some sages, including Rabbi Pinchas from the Midrash, who disagree with this opinion that they were very light and therefore they weren't destroyed by the hail, like we said. V'darshu ke'afilot, the word afilot means pilei plaot na'asu lahem shelo laku. They had, Rashi says, pilei plaot, even though it's funny, the Midrash there, the actual language in the Midrash is pelaim, just once. And Rashi, he uses this word pilei plaot, and the commentaries on Rashi explain why Rashi says pilei plaot, because there was a double wonder. A wonder of wonders, nasu lahem, were made for the wheat and the spelt, shelo laku, that they weren't destroyed, because they should have been, okay? But Hashem let them on the side. The commentaries explain, I think including the Ramban and the Or Chaim and the Mizrahi, that they explain that in order to give room for the evil people to still have doubts, Hashem doesn't do a miracle to destroy everything. Because Lichora, Hashem should have destroyed everything. Let them see the power of Hashem's hand. Let the bara destroy even the wheat and the spelt. No, Hashem let that open so that they can have doubts. Okay? You see, there's still room. He's not really such a strong God. He doesn't kill all the way. Even doing evil, you're okay. So you see that there's opening for that. Fine. In our context, we want to say like this. Pelaot, Pele, Rabbi Nachman explains in lesson 24, is the force that bounces a person back. What we said earlier, that a person who's on the roll to coming close to infinite light, he's pushed back. What pushes him back? It's this force called the Pele, which in Kabbalistic terminology is referring to the Keter. The Keter is the high sphera, which is like a wall between the creation and the creator. Between the Ma'atzil and the Ne'etzalim, those who are the one who formed and those who are formed, you have this barrier called the crown, the Keter. It's a sphera which separates the whole creation from God. Okay? And it's also called the Pele. Why is it called the Pele? Because it's wondrous. It's beyond grasp. Pele means something which is wondrous. It's beyond your grasp. So it's called the Pele. Okay? The Pele is the force that pushes a person back. And at that pushback is his test. Is he going to use emunah and simcha to hold on? And by holding on, he thus builds vessels to perceive within them the infinite light. That which he's looking for comes to him, even in a passing mode, but it comes to him. Okay? This is for someone who is in a positive vein, in a positive direction. He wants holiness. He wants to come closer to Hashem, so they push him back. Okay? But a wicked person, a person who's after worldly matters, there's no need to push him back. Let him go. He's trying to pursue whatever he's trying to pursue. Because ultimately, Rav Nosson explains, any light that a person experiences, even a goy, even in the secular world, even in mundanity, when a person has a high aspiration, if it's an amazing musical, a Beethoven concert or whatever, and a person has a very big aspiring feeling, or a good movie, I don't know, and a person has such a high, that is believe it or not, is emanating from the infinite light. It just filtered down so low into mundanity. But anytime a person feels an excitement, like his hair stand and he's shivering and he's just so happy and so emotional and uplifted, it's coming from the infinite light. So by the wicked people who do vanity and they're in pursuit for vanity, there's no need to push them back. Let them go forward, because anyways they're on the wrong path. So this is hinted to in these two items, okay? Chita, the wording in Pasuk is like this. Va'chita va'kusemet lo nuku. Chita is similar to a sin, chet. That's why there's a custom not to eat nuts on Rosh Hashanah. It's an halacha, so you shouldn't arouse any mentioning of a word sin. Okay, sorry, what am I saying? That's chita. That's not connected to nuts. There's an inyan of chita which is related to sin. I'm sorry, there's another inyan. I'm sorry about that. That's Rosh Hashanah on nuts, and nothing to do with this. I'm sorry. Chita has the same wording. It's etymologically similar to a sin. And kusemet, even though it's of a kaf, it's interchangeable. There's 4 letters, gichak, gimel, yud, chaf, kuf, which you can play games with and interchange them. So kusemet can also be written kesem, which is like magic. People are into magic and witchcraft and sorcery. So people, chita, who go after sinning, and people after huji-buji and all types of things, and palm readers and all types of witchcraft and sorcery, and they try to live their life based on these 2 things, chita, sinning, and kusemet, kesem, lo nuku, they don't get hit. Why don't they get hit? Because they're not on the right path. They're not trying to pursue the keter. There's no need to give them a smack. There's no reason to push them back in order to create vessels. Because anyways they're on the wrong track, let them burn themselves up, let them have excitement, and let them crash afterwards, no problem. So that's what the Torah is hinting to in this Makah, the 7th of this week's Parshat, the final one, which is the culmination of the 7. If it's brought down that the 10 plagues are broken down in 2 parshiot. Parshat Va'era this week has 7. Parshat Bo has 3. And then the Kabbalah correspond to the 7 lower sfirot and the 3 upper sfirot. Okay? So number 7 this week, Barad, being the culmination. It's corresponding to the sphere of Chesed, if you want to say. So in this Makah, it's like, in a sense, all-inclusive. You see Rashi's wording on the Parsha, that Barad was really a very powerful Makah. Even though the final one is Makat Bechorot, which is the Spitz. Nonetheless, of these 7 ones, the Makah of Barad is considered as something to go full force. So in this Makah, you have hidden guidelines of attitudes in life. Chita and Kusemet, sinning, chet, and kesem, that people who are into sorcery and witchcraft and all that stuff. Lo nuku, they don't get hit, right? Ki afiloten, and why? Because this is now, it's called pele, is really the force that helps a person bounce back. But here, like Rashi says, you need pilei plaot, a double pele, in order not to let this happen to them. Normally, a person is getting too close, the pele, the keter, stops them. But in this case, the pele controls itself. It's called pilei plaot, that the pele has to use a higher force of keter to let these people through. Let them go through. Let them get burnt. Let them be overexposed with their sins and their vanities, because that's how they'll learn. They have to learn the hard way. That's the path they chose of their free will to take. So let them go all the way. The pathway a person wants to take in life, he's given the okay, but he gets burnt in the end. Oh, look what happened to him, this and that. Yeah, that's what he wanted. He wanted that pathway, so he got burnt in the end. So the Torah is hinting to this. May we be zoche, that to be on the right path, number one. And number two, take the patch that Hashem gives us, the Makah that Hashem gives us in life, as a positive stage to perceive the light of the Keter, which is the infinite light, and by doing so, to reach our maximum capacity for with which Hashem sent us back into this world. Shabbat Shalom Baruch.